Hey grade 7s, welcome to your Friday math lesson. In our last lesson we were talking about different types of angles as well as an intro to complementary angles. Today we are going to continue on with complementary angles a bit, and we're also going to talk about supplementary angles. So, in your last worksheet you would have gotten questions that looked like this. It had a 90-degree angle and it was cut somewhere down the middle, and it gave you one angle. Your job was to find the missing angle. In order to find the missing angle, you know that both angles have to add up to 90 degrees. So this has to be 90 degrees. So in order to find out what this angle here is, you basically take 90 and you minus 27 in this case, and that will give you 90 minus 27, and that will give you 63. So that means our missing angle right here is 63 degrees. Because when I add 63 and 27 together, I get my full 90-degree angle. Even if you have an angle that's positioned like this one, that little square in the corner, we know it's a 90-degree angle, we know it's a right angle. So the same rules still apply. I need to do 90 minus 42, and that will give me my missing angle, which in this case gives me 48. So that means this missing angle right here is 48 degrees, because 48 degrees and 42 degrees equals 90 degrees. What if you are given an angle like this though, that just looks like a V and it just has the angle measure? It's asking for the same thing, it's just not showing you this full angle. So normally it would look something like this, and you have that little square. This is the same thing, it's just asking you for what the complement of that angle is. So what added to that 21 degrees is going to give you 90. So you will see a few of these questions this time around where it's basically a V shape and it's asking you to find the complement of that angle. So if you are given 21 degrees and you need to find the complement of it, it's the same rules apply and the same method applies. You do 90 minus 21, and that will give you 69. So the complement of 21 degrees is 69 degrees because those added together will create 90. What about the complement of 33 degrees? Same rules, 90 minus 33 equals 57. So the complement of 33 degrees is 57 degrees, because if I was to add a line here and this was to create a right angle, this one right here would be 57 degrees. So part of your work for today is basically going to be questions that look like that. They have a V shape that have an angle, and you have to name what the complement of that angle would be. I'm going to try something a little bit different for your work this time around. I've discovered and gotten a little bit better after some practice using Google Forms. So you are going to get a link to the Google form. It should be able to open up. You basically just type in your name and your student email, and then it gives you all the questions. And the questions, what's nice about them is you just have to answer with a number. So let's say it's asking for the complement of 33 degrees and you find out it's 57, you just type in 57 and you go through all the questions. What's nice about it though is at the end of the form, when you hit submit, it gives you instant feedback. So if you got a question wrong, it'll tell you that you got it wrong and you can actually go back and change it, which is really nice. So you have that instant feedback, so you don't have to wait for me to go and mark your pages, because sometimes it does get a little bit backlogged on my part, and that's my fault. So I'm hoping this method will hopefully work out well for you guys, where you can basically just type in your answers. And you don't have to worry about showing your workarounds for this one. You can obviously just use a scrap piece of paper and use that to kind of figure out the answers, or use a calculator or something along those lines. But all you have to really do is just type in the answers. Remind you though that the answers, you just have to type in the number and only the number, because if you type in something other than just a number, it will sometimes mark it wrong, and that's kind of the flaw there, because then it looks like you got the wrong answer even though you might not have. So that's just a little bit of a warning for it. But let me know how you guys like it. I did put a question. Your last question is a multiple choice question where it basically asks, do you like this? And you can have the option of writing out a sentence or two of feedback, whether or not you like it. If I find out that a majority of people don't, if I find out that a majority of people do like it, but there's a few of you that really don't, or that it doesn't work for your computer or your device, that's not a problem. What I can do is still send you the regular worksheets, because all I'm really doing for this is basically taking pictures of the individual questions of the same worksheets that you would normally get. So I can just send those worksheets along to you. Just keep in mind that it might take a little bit longer to get feedback on the work. So let me know how you guys like it. I want to try this out, and hopefully it'll be really nice. The nice thing about it for me too is I can look at and see like, oh, if I see a question 9, a lot of people had trouble with that one. What's nice is I can use that question as review for the next lesson. And then I know exactly what's kind of going on with you guys, and see what are some areas that we can use for more practice. And on that long note, we're going to move on to supplementary angles. So the difference between supplementary and complementary angles. Supplementary angles are 2 or more angles that add up to 180, whereas complementary adds up to 90. So the only difference is that I have to find an angle here that added to 47 equals 180. And that's the only difference, is that it just has to add up to 180 instead of 90. You do the same process that you would do with complementary angles. You take 180 instead, so 180 for supplementary minus 47, and that will give you what this missing angle right here is. So 180 minus 47 gives you 133. So my missing angle is 133 degrees. So the supplement to 47 is 133, because those two added together gives me 180. On the questions, you will see that the lines are labeled with letters. So it could look like this: A, B, and C. So what that means is this right here is called angle ABC. So 47 degrees is called angle ABC. What the question asks you for is like AB and like, let's call this D. So it asks for angle ABD. It's the same thing as basically answering the number that adds up to the 180. So it's the same rules apply for it. It's just the way it asks you the question is a little bit awkward. And that's just the way you kind of would label the angles, is you have those 3 points and it shows you kind of what the angles look like. But same rules apply, you just answer with a number. So let's find the complement of 117. So to find the complement of 117, I take 180 minus 117, and that will give me my missing angle, which in this case is 63. So the complement to 117 is 63 degrees, because 63 and 117 equal 180. What about this one here, 53 degrees? First step, 180 minus 53. $127 is my answer. So that means this angle right here has to be 127 degrees, because 127 and 53 equal 180. And that's it. That's complementary and that's supplementary angles. Complementary have to add up to 90. Supplementary have to add up to 180. And that's all it is. The easiest way to remember the difference between the two: complementary is a smaller word, smaller angle. Supplementary is a longer word, bigger angle. And that's how you can tell the difference. So that's basically what your questions may be based off of. You're going to have the complementary angles that look like the letter V. And you have to basically, it's just going to ask you to find the complement to that angle. The next set of questions are going to be the supplementary angles, which have to add up to, the other ones had to add up to 90. These ones have to add up to 180. And that's all you need to do. Let me know how you guys like the Google form method. We'll see how it works out. I'm just hoping you guys will like it just because of the fact that you have the instant feedback. It also is nice for me because then I can clearly see where are some problem areas or where are people struggling, so that I know and I can better cater these lessons to those areas that we need to work on. Starting Monday, we are going to go into angles with shapes. Some of it's going to be reviewed from grade 6, some of it's going to be some new content, but that will essentially be it. And then we're going to be working on angles for most, if not all of next week, depending on how much we can get through and depending on how people are doing. But that's essentially it. And that's your Friday lesson. So pretty simple. Thank you guys so much. Let me know how you like the form. I hope you have fantastic weekends. My other homework task for you guys this weekend is take some time this weekend, even if it's just half an hour, to do something for yourselves. Do something fun for yourselves. Do something that you have been meaning to do during quarantine that you haven't gotten around to yet. So for example, I've been trying to get around to doing some knitting because, as you guys know, I'm 80 years old and I like being a grandma. And I've been meaning to do some more knitting during quarantine and I still haven't gotten around to it. So that's my task for you guys, is find some time to do something for yourselves this weekend and, practice some self-care. But that's it. So I will see you guys Monday. Have a fantastic weekend. I miss seeing all of you. I miss being back in our classroom, but we'll get there eventually. We just have to kind of get through this. But thank you guys. Have a fantastic weekend.